Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. My name is Prachi Sharma and today is day 9 of the test series. In today's session, we will be working on the chapter Ammonia. And if you're new to this channel has a test series going on that is chapter wise for chemistry 10th grade ICSE. Every day the test paper is released on the Telegram channel and the solutions and the video discussing what answers are to be written in the board examinations. That video is posted the very next day. So you get a good 24 hours to work on the test paper on your own and try out how much you understand and also understand your doubts and problems in the next session that is uploaded. So without wasting any time, let's get started with ammonia. Alright students, let's get started with the chapter ammonia. So let's look at the first question. So the first question says copy, complete and balance the following equation. Let me move this on this side so that you can clearly see. Okay. Now let's look at this. So the first equation is Mg3N2 plus water gives MgOH whole twice plus ammonia. Then Ca plus N2 will give you Ca3N2. Let's just see 3 and yes, that's correct. Then AIN plus water. Now all of these equations are coming from the properties of ammonia. If you have any doubts understanding the properties of ammonia, please do go ahead and check out the one-shot video on ammonia on the channel. If you are still facing doubts on the properties, you can text me on Telegram channel and directly approach me to discuss your doubts. So let's move on to a next one, that is ALN, that is aluminium nitrate plus water, that will give me hydroxide. So AlOH whole twice plus ammonia. Then we have copper oxide plus ammonia, that will give you copper plus nitrogen plus water. So copper plus nitrogen gas plus water. Then we have ammonia with chlorine. Now in this, ammonia is in axis. So when we have ammonia in axis, we get NH4Cl, that is ammonium chloride plus nitrogen gas. So NH4Cl plus nitrogen gas. Now ammonia plus H2SO4 will give you NH4 whole twice SO4. Now these equations were directly from the properties of ammonia. Moving on to fill in the blanks. Ammonia is dash dense than air. It is less dense than air. Then ammonia is dash collected over water. It is not collected over water. Why is it not collected over water? That is because ammonia is highly soluble in water. So instead of getting collected over water, it will get dissolved in water. So ammonia is dash soluble in water. It is highly soluble in water. Dry ammonia has dash effect on red litmus paper. It has no effect, because for any effect on litmus paper, either you are using moist litmus paper or whatever element you are using, it should be moist. You need to have some moisture for litmus test to work. For any kind of question in which they give you dry acid or a dry base and they give you something with litmus, the answer will always be no effect because of lack of moisture. Ammonia turns neutral litmus solution to blue. Why is that? Because ammonia gas, when of course it has moisture in it, it is basic in nature, so it turns your solution to blue. Now moving on to the next question. State whether the following statements are true or false. Ammonia is insoluble in water. So the answer is false, because we just discussed ammonia is highly soluble in water. Next is ammonia dissolves in water to give an alkali. So I just mentioned ammonia is basic in nature. So when ammonia gets dissolved in water, it gives us an alkali. So that is true. Next question is ammonium hydroxide on adding to ferrous sulfate produces dirty green precipitate. This is true. This is a question from analytical. So in analytical also you cover this portion in which you are discussing various tests with ammonium hydroxide and different PPTs that you get. I will be covering up analytical chemistry somewhere towards the you can say 20th, around 20th of January. I'm gonna try my best to put out a video on analytical because I'm getting a lot of requests for that chapter. Moving on to ammonia burns in oxygen with blue flame. That is false. Ammonia acts as a reducing agent. That is true. Now next, just choose the correct option. So liquid ammonia is dash dash, that is basic, acidic or neutral. So liquid ammonia is neutral. Okay. Ammonia dissolves in water to give what? It gives ammonium hydroxide. Then next question is drying ammonia on dissolving in water. Oh, it's water again. Okay. Ammonia on dissolving in water produces which ions? So it will give you hydroxyl as the negative ions, OH negative ions, because it is basic in nature. So the answer would be hydroxyl ions, basic. Drying agent for ammonia is calcium oxide or quicklime. Now they can ask you a question in reasoning, why ammonia is not dried over H2SO4, concentrated H2SO4, because it's a good drying agent. So why is it not dried over concentrated H2SO4? So the answer is that H2SO4 is acidic in nature, whereas ammonia gas is basic in nature. So what would happen, instead of getting dried over concentrated H2SO4, it will end up having a neutralization reaction. So instead of taking away moisture from it, a reaction would happen. That would be acid plus base gives you salt and water. So that's why it is not collected over H2SO4. Moving on to next question. Ammonia gas catalytically oxidized to give N2 plus H2O, no. NO2 plus H2O, no. It gives you NO plus H2O. Okay. Alright students, let's move on to question number 5. Question number 5 is pretty direct. They have given you the reactants and you're supposed to form the products from this. I have zoomed in a bit. I hope that is a bit clearly visible to you, and I'll be writing the answers right in front of it. Now let's start with the first question. So the first question says that you have excess of chlorine that reacts with ammonia. Now if you remember question 1, we had a part which said ammonia is reacting in excess with chlorine. So in that case you got ammonium chloride plus nitrogen gas. Now in this case what would happen is you have excess of chlorine. So let's just write that. So NH3 plus chlorine, that will give you NCl3 plus HCl. That extra H will give you a hydrochloric acid. Now next is burning magnesium strip is introduced in the jar of nitrogen. So what is that? Magnesium plus nitrogen is reacting. So that will give you magnesium nitride. So that would be Mg3N2. Now next question says magnesium nitride is warmed with water. So the same magnesium nitride formula that you have, Mg3N2, that is reacting with water. So Mg3N2 is reacting with water. So what would happen? You'll get a hydroxide. You'll get magnesium hydroxide, and what is left out? Ammonia will come out of that. So magnesium hydroxide. So MgOH whole twice plus ammonia gas will come out. Now next question is nitrogen combines with oxygen in the presence of electric spark at 3000 degrees Celsius. Very simple. Nitrogen plus oxygen, 3000 degrees Celsius spark, you'll get nitrogen monoxide. You'll get NO. That's it. Now what is the next question? Next question is ammonia is passed over the paste of bleaching powder. So the first thing is you should know what is bleaching powder. So that is CaOCl2. And ammonia is passed over it. So what will you get? You will get CaCl2 plus nitrogen gas plus water. Then ammonia is passed over heated copper oxide. So copper oxide plus ammonia gas will give you what? So whenever ammonia is majorly reacting, it gives you nitrogen gas plus water. So you can always write that nitrogen gas plus water. Now what is left out? Copper is left out. So copper. That's it. Now next question is ammonia is passed through concentrated sulfuric acid. So ammonia plus H2SO4. Now we did this question in the first part also. So that is NH4 whole twice SO4. Then ammonium dichromate is heated. So this is not in the syllabus. Now next question is, what do you observe when water is added to the product formed when aluminium is burnt in a jar of nitrogen gas? Okay, one important thing about this question is that this question is not asking you the equation. You're only supposed to tell what is the observation. So even if you do not know the whole equation, but you get an idea that okay, aluminium is burnt in a jar of nitrogen, so ammonia or gas should be coming out. If you just get an idea of that, this means that you can just give an observation for ammonia gas, and that's it. So what you can write in this one is, you can say a colorless, pungent, pungent odor and suffocating, pungent and suffocating gas is released, which gives white dense fumes when reacted with concentrated hydrochloric acid. So if you just lost it, go back and play it again and then take a note of it. I would anyways be writing it on the screen also, but that would be visible once we are done with the session. You can download the answer script from the description box. I'll still repeat myself. A colorless, pungent and suffocating gas is released, which gives out dense white fumes with hydrochloric acid, concentrated hydrochloric acid. Now next question is, how soluble is ammonia in water? So we'll say extremely. Now the next question says, give two reasons to show that solution of ammonia in water contains hydroxide ions. So the first one should be directly that it gives, so red litmus turns blue, and the second you can say that with acids it gives salt and water only. Now the third question. Name a simple method you would employ to prepare ammonium salts in the lab. So that would be neutralization reaction. Now moving on, using sodium hydroxide solution, how would you distinguish ammonium sulfate from sodium sulfate? So sodium hydroxide, when sodium hydroxide is reacting with ammonium sulfate, so what would happen? You can say a colorless gas is released, which gives white dense fumes with concentrated hydrochloric acid, and whereas sodium hydroxide has no reaction with sodium sulfate. Okay, so no reaction. This is how you will be answering this question. I'll repeat myself. Sodium hydroxide with ammonium sulfate will give you a colorless, pungent smelling or suffocating gas, which gives white dense fumes with concentrated hydrochloric acid, or you can say which turns Nestler's reagent brown. Both of these are tests of ammonia. Whereas sodium hydroxide doesn't show any reaction with sodium sulfate. So I hope students this was clear to you. Alright students, so this was it for today's session. One important take from this test paper is that, for example, you had the last question in which you were supposed to distinguish between two compounds. They never asked you to write the equation. So the answer that I mentioned was about observation, that a gas is released which is giving white dense fumes, and whereas on the other side you have no reaction. So that answer is acceptable. Even if you write an equation and then mention everything, that is also acceptable. But my approach always is to make sure that my students are able to answer all the questions even if they do not remember the equation. Okay, and if the question is not directly asking you an equation, they cannot deduct marks for not mentioning an equation. So always remember that. Read the question carefully. By just looking at the question, don't get scared that okay, I do not remember the equation, should I try to make the equation? No, just try to think about what kind of product may come out and what the observation would be. If you are able to answer that much, no need to write the whole equation or balance it out. So this was it for today's session. I hope this was helpful and you were able to understand. Now, make sure that you join the Telegram channel and stay updated with the upcoming test papers. Same as we had the test paper series, by the end of January sometime we would also have a series of sample papers coming up. And stay tuned for more content. Please do subscribe and share this video with your friends and family and help them understand ammonia a little better than before. So thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful day.